Okay, good afternoon, class. We are here back for our economics, and we shall not take much time unused. We shall have to start immediately, since we say that time is money, isn't it? Okay, now, before we proceed from where we started or we ended the other time, let us have some small short review of from where we ended the other time. I remember we ended with resources. Do you remember that? We ended with the resources, economic resources. Economic resources. It's not writing very nice. So with economic resources, we said that these are factors of production. These are factors of production that are used in the production of goods and services to satisfy human desires. Okay? But me having therefore defined it, since we were together yesterday, can we please look at the two categories of resources? Yes, one of which we said what? This side here, please. What two categories of resources did we have yesterday? Did we look at yesterday? Yes, we looked at renewable resources, and we also looked at non-renewable resources. Now that you have mentioned what those two categories of resources are, can we try to recall exactly what these two are in broad sense, in the broad meaning? Yes? Okay. This time let us look at this corner. May you please contribute? I know you're scratching the head, you're trying to recall, So let me just hint on it and then you will be able to tell us, isn't it? Okay. So when we're talking about renewable resources, we said these are resources or factors of production that can be revitalized. When we say revitalized, we said we mean what? We mean which can be brought back into use. Which can be brought back into use after a given time period. Right? Okay, which can be revitalized after use in a given period of time. And we gave examples. Like what examples? Hey, you guys there, please. Like which examples? All right. Talked about like forests. Yes. We talked about like land fertility. Land fertility. can be brought back, land can be brought back into use even when it has been exhausted fully. You can use either natural methods of using terraces, mulching, and also we can as well use the artificial mechanism of using artificial fertilizers like urea, DAP, NPK. You understand? Okay. So what about non-renewable? What did we say these resources are? We say that, yes, tell us. Okay, since your voice is low, please let us, let me, whose voice is higher, say it out to the entire room, okay? And we said that non-renewable resources, these are factor inputs. Factor inputs, all what we mean by resources that cannot be revitalized, which we said that which cannot be brought back into use, brought back into use after their initial exploitation. For example, we said we have what? We have minerals. Those underground minerals, among which we have, for instance, we have our oil. When the oil is used up, is extracted, and it is fully extracted from the underground, you can now not tap it in any other way. When you have extracted the copper, the gold, the zinc, cobalt, mention them. Those ones cannot be revitalized. Cannot be revitalized. Yes. So having had that such a small reflection, let us look at wealth. Wealth as another concept which is used in our economics. In the economic world, we are busy looking at the concepts that are used in economics. So in other words, we are still looking at, let me use this, economic concepts used in economics. And under that, having looked at economic resources, we are going further to look at wealth. We are going further to look at wealth. And when we are looking at wealth, we mean, what do we mean? I hear you talking about, I'm wealthy, my father is wealthy, my father is wealthier than yours. what do we mean by being wealth? By having wealth, what do we mean by that? Yes? What we mean is not something coming from heaven. It is something that we always have. That we always have. So, when you're talking about wealth, we mean the stock. We mean the stock of assets, the stock of assets that is owned by an individual, by an individual, firm, organization, all government, all government. So, the items, the assets like what? I have my phone here. I saw it, yes, I showed it to you yesterday. When I have a building like this one we are in, this one here, I have my vehicle outside. When you have your tractor outside and you have your land, that is wealth. In other words, everything that we tend to own by ourselves, regardless of the differences in the value of those items, they are wealth. They are assets, which assets are very crucial in our day-to-day businesses and production activities. Yes. Now, having looked at wealth, that it is a stock of assets, or goods that an individual or a firm or a given organization or the government has for production and business purposes, then therefore we can look at the forms of assets. These goods that we tend to own as an individual, as a firm, as an organization, or as a country, they are in what forms? They are in what forms? Are we together? Yes. When you are looking at these forms, they are basically three forms. They are basically three forms. They are basically three forms, out of which one we call it collective wealth. Collective wealth. Yes, when we are talking about collective wealth, we mean the goods, the assets, which are utilized, which are used, which are enjoyed by, which are owned, utilized, and enjoyed by not only one person, but the entire community. The entire community broadly. That's why we are using that the exploitation of that wealth, the ownership of that wealth is by everyone. Collection of people is by a collection of people, meaning that by the entire community. And when we say entire community, I don't mean one village. No, I don't mean only one village. It may be a whole sub-county. It can be the whole country. Yes. Yes. Okay? So when we're talking about collective wealth, and we say that this is the wealth which we're meaning the assets, assets, or we can call them goods. Yeah? Yes. All resources, all goods, all services that are owned, exploited. To exploit, I mean used, that are exploited or used and enjoyed by the entire society. Society we have not specified, and we have not limited. We have not limited that only a given person should enjoy and should not cross to another area. No, it is not like that. Why? Because here we may have examples like wells. I misgeneralize it and say water sources. Water source. In a given village, where we have a well, it may be a borehole, or these local wells from which you come with your jerrycan and you tap the water. You dip it into the water and scoop out the water. You carry on your head and then move home. It does not mean that when a well of the neighboring village gets a problem, that those village people from that particular village have no need to come to the neighboring village. No, because these resources were established for everyone. For everyone. So you cannot stop someone from other villages to come and utilize such a water source. So the use of such a water source, a well, or a borehole, can be utilized by whoever, even if we're in Hoima here, when someone comes from Karamoja in the evening, arrives here, is entitled to use that what? That borehole. There's no limitation that for you don't reside here, please, may you disappear from using this utility. No, it is not like that. So the other, we have roads. And railways. These ones can as well be used by everyone. There is no limitation that with me, when they find me walking on a particular, they're going to chase me away from it. Or maybe when they find me walking along Hoima Kampala Road, Hoima Masindi Road, Hoima Fort Portal Road, they're going to say, no, talk up. Toka hapa. Go away. No. Everyone has a right. Everyone has a right to utilize that particular wealth, that particular asset, because it is for entire country. It is for the entire community, for everyone. Understood? Yes. Yes. Do we have any other, some other assets that can be used, can fall under this collective wealth? Yes. Like what? Oh, nice. Thank you. We have health centers. Health centers. This one is also non-exclusive. Non-excludability. It does not exclude that so and so. This one is a Munyoro, this one is a Muchiga, this one is a Muganda, this one is a Lugubar, this one is a Karamanjong. Don't come to this hospital. No. Because the hospital was put up to benefit the entire community. So I, having come from here where I am, and I go to Kotido, and I feel I'm sickly. I'm not feeling well. But now what can I do? I will go to the Kotido hospital. They treat me. They give me the medicine, because the hospital is for everyone, to benefit everyone. I think we are all together. Okay, thank you. Now, having looked at that form of wealth, which is collective wealth, let us also look at the second one. Let us look at the second one. And the second one is private wealth. It's called what? Is called what? Private or personal wealth. In this private or personal wealth, this one is where? This one is where, or this is the wealth. Hey, I didn't write the word wealth here. All right? Personal wealth. This one is the wealth or the goods or a service, all a commodity, all an asset are the goods, all assets, which belong to an individual person, belong to an individual person, and its use is discriminatory, is exclusive of others, is exclusive of others. Meaning that it is owned by one person, and using it is by that person. Only and only when has allowed you to benefit from that asset. It's when you can utilize it. It's when you can enjoy that asset. But when you have not been allowed, you are restricted. You are restricted. For example, you people who are here, you people here, some of you have bicycles, but when you park your bicycle, should you dare find when someone has taken it, you will quarrel, until you get tired. Am I deceiving? When you happen to have your car, even a motorcycle, immediately you park it, you lock. You lock it. Some of you put in, some of you people outside there put in security alarms. Security alarms. Should you dare just touch it by pop? It starts making it. Why? Because it is detecting, apart from me, the owner, who else is attempting to use it. Why? Because it is yours. Because it is mine. Are we together? Yes. So, that's why those people tend to put in those security. You lock it and those cars, you even immediately you close it. Someone locks and you see? Is locking it. Should you build your house, you shut the doors and go away. Immediately you disappear. And you hear it being banged by a given person, you will make an alarm. You will make an alarm because an intruder will have entered in your house. And because he is an intruder, he has come to take your items without authority, without your consent. And therefore, because of that, you look for other measures of making sure that you are secure. Your assets in the house are secure. Are you together? Yes. I know. When I see you just smiling, okay? I just get to know that things are moving on well. All right? Okay. So, here what do we have as examples? But we have mentioned some of them, right? We have phones. In those phones, you always put passwords, because, and that password is very secret. Even me, my wife doesn't know my password. Why? Because it is my phone. It is my phone. Bicycles, cars, houses, shoes, slippers, mention them. Those ones are yours, privately. Okay? So, let me know, people, you have got what private or personal wealth is all about. And that was our second category of wealth among the forms of wealth. Okay? Right. Now, let us look at the third. Let us look at the third. Let's look at the third form of wealth. And the third form of wealth is the business wealth. Is what? Business wealth. Yes, I told you from the start that you have been practicing economics, but actually not very well knowing what you are doing. not very well knowing that what you're doing, you are busy practicing what? Economics in your business, in our day-to-day lives. So, business and wealth. This is the stock of assets that is either owned by an individual, okay? A farm, when I say farm, I mean farm of FIRM, which means any kind of production plant, production venture, okay? Any form of production what? Venture, but not meaning of a farm of FARM, which may restrict us to an agricultural farm. Are we together? So we are saying which is either owned by an individual or a farm for business, stroke, we may say carrying out economic, or let me go one by one, okay? This one we can make it complete. For business purposes, all. Another one can define it saying that business wealth is a stock of asset owned by an individual or farm for purposes of carrying out economic activities. Purposely for carrying out economic activities. Remember, not for your own consumption, but for carrying out economic what? Activities. What do we mean here? What we mean is that you may own a given resource. You may own a given form of assets, a given stock of assets, a given amount of goods, a given amount of, it can even be capital assets, those huge machinery, buildings, okay, land. But when in the real sense, they are for business reasons. For business reasons. What do we mean? Some of us, some of you, some of your parents out there have been able to buy some trucks, some vehicles, purposely not to just move around enjoying, not just move to louse around with them, but purposely to carry out business. To carry out business. In this scenario, when a given car takes a day without generating income, that is a loss. That is a loss for such a car owner. Why? Because it has not produced any kind of revenue for the firm or for an individual. Some of us have got some businesses, shops. In those shops, you have got cooking oil, you have got sodas, you have got sacks of sugar, sugar, you have got books, you have got pens, you have got rice, you have got posho. Mention them in your business. But at the end of the day, where the problem comes in is when you start measuring 1 kilogram of sugar you are taking home for children to take. Remember, as you are taking home, you are reducing on the stock of business. As you are taking home and you don't pay for that sugar, you are busy letting your business down. Because we have to know that whether you are taking salt, sugar, rice, posho, even if a small packet of cooking oil, 250 grams of butter cooking oil, we are supposed to touch into our pocket, pull out the 1,000, pay into the business for the item that you are taking away. For the item that you are taking away. So if you are a kind of person who is going to be feeling like you want to take fried beans, you have bought something and you have not actually paid for it, it tends to mean that you are busy exploiting your business and you are busy making it go down, slowly going down. If you are selling fuel, we have some people today in today's business here, in the villages, they tend to buy a fuel, petrol, in jerry cans. From the fuel pump, they take in the villages to sell. And you also have a vehicle, a car, or a motorcycle. And when the fuel gets finished from the motorcycle, you just measure 2 liters. You drop into your what? Your motorcycle, and you don't pay. You are not calculating that is my business money being utilized and being reduced at one time or T. When you continue like that, the business will be no more. So, what am I trying to explain? It is that when you have set the business, you the owner, you have to make yourself so far from the business. I'm not meaning far in terms of the distance, but you have to give the business free to do its part. You sell, you feed it, you sell, you feed it, you sell, but not becoming a parasite to the business. Do you know a parasite? A parasite is an insect or is someone who depends on another from whom is not feeding back. You get that? Hey, so at the end of the day, that business will have to prosper. It will have to continue flourishing. It will progress. But when you don't create the distance between you as an individual and the business, you are in problems. Your business is in problems because you will be getting much out of it for your own and family consumption. So, what is my advice? My advice is, when you have set the business, you have set your farm, and you have those assets for the farm, purposely for business activities, what you always have to do is, if you want an item, because when you have some income in your pocket, it may not necessarily need you to go and buy from the neighboring shop, that because you have a distance between you and your business. Yeah? No, it does not necessarily need you to go to the neighborhood to buy. That's because you don't want to touch into your business. No. Measure the cooking oil. Measure the sugar. Measure the rice which you want to take home. Touch in your own pocket. This personal wealth. Touch in that wealth of yours. Come and pay for the rice, for the salt, and for the cooking oil. Then the business will continue. Understood? Yes. So our businesses should not collapse when you have got this information from me. Okay? Yes, let me hope I will be finding you prospering in business. Thank you so much for understanding that. All right. Now, having understood these three forms of wealth, please just also allow me to link to the characteristics of all of these wealth. In other words, characteristics of wealth. But that one, you have to have in mind this, and then the features will be very easy for you to identify. Very easy for us to identify. Yes, we are looking at the futures. When you're talking about futures, we also mean characteristics, okay? Characteristics of wealth. Characteristics of wealth. We must be having the three forms in mind, and at least giving some features from both of them. So we say the first one, that this wealth we are seeing here, which is owned both by an individual or a farm or a country, they own or they have a money value. They have a money value. They have money. They have money value. What do we mean? That these assets can be monetized. Can be monetized. Monetized, still I mean that they can be calculated into money. They can be valued they can have an attachment, or they have an attachment in monetary values. For example, when you put up a house, that house has raw materials that you have used, to raise up that building. And when you raise that building of yours, you have raised that building. You have raised that what? That building of yours there. With the iron sheets, with the iron sheets. Okay? With your good ventilators here. Don't you always put them along the windows and the door? Now, I want you to tell me, were you getting these bricks to build the house free of charge? Did you get the cement? Did you get the bricks? The cement? The sand? The iron sheets? Did you get the ventilators? Also answer me whether you got the nails free of charge. Yeah? Were you getting them free of charge from where they are sold? And therefore, since you were not getting them free of charge, when you are building, you are busy calculating, adding item per item. How many bags of cement have you used? You write. How many bricks have you used? That 10,000 bricks. At how much each brick? You calculate. Sand, how many trips of sand have I used? And each trip at how much? Are you getting that? The nails, each kilo at how much? Iron sheets, each iron sheet at how much? So at the end of the day, you will have to rate your building. That this building you are seeing here, I'm very proud of it. I am very proud of this building because it really costed me this amount of money. If you think it is a joke, I'm not a joking subject. I suffered to build this house, okay? So, when you have made up your full calculation, you attach all that amount of money to be the value of your house. Clear? Yes. Let me hope everyone is following us. Is following me, right? Yeah. So, it is from here that we say that assets have money value. Wealth have money value. Okay? Here you have just used one asset. Even if it is a car is valued in terms of money because of its raw materials. Of what makes up that car is weighed in terms of money. The body, the steering, the engine, the tire, you get. And the rest, mention them, just as you look at the car. So at the end of the day, they put the car there. That is Land Cruiser, model this. And it is valued this. It becomes an asset. It is an asset but valued a given amount of money. All right. I told you that when I see you smiling, I just come to understand that we are moving together, okay? Thank you so much for following us. So, besides the house, besides the money value, we also say that wealth which we say is a stock of assets, which assets are in various categories also. We have variable assets, we have fixed assets. Yes. So, they also possess utility. They also possess utility. When we are talking about possessing utility, for example, first of all, before I talk about possession of utility, what do we mean by utility? Utility, this one here alone. When we're talking about utility, we mean the ability of a commodity or service to satisfy human what? Human desires. Satisfy human desires. We are looking at the ability of a commodity to satisfy human desires. So, by defining utility as such, therefore, we bring our word, possess utility, meaning that the wealth has an ability to satisfy our needs. To be sincere, for me, the small house I own enables me at least to put my head when it comes to night, to rest from it. However small it is, but it provides me with what I feel. But when time comes, you never know. Even you who are here, you may contribute to me and I build a bungalow, okay? I build a bungalow, a bigger, huge house. I will be proud of you, okay? I will be proud of you, all right? So, my level of utility when you build for me a bungalow will also increase. The rate of satisfying my desires at that time will also increase. But all in all, wealth possess ability to satisfy human desires. At times in our businesses, you find you need transport. You need to carry your items from one place to another, from the production centers to another. And because you are always perturbed by the mode of transporting those commodities, be it raw materials, you therefore come in and say, no, it's me struggle and getting money, I have to buy a car. I have to buy a fossil to carry my matoke, my bananas from the gardens to the market. So your need is what? Is transportation. Transporting the goods from the production centers to the market. And because of that, therefore, you require a vehicle, which is an asset. So, you require an asset, which is a vehicle, to satisfy your transportational abilities for your commodities. Are we together? All right. Then the other future. The other future is also that wealth is transferable. Wealth is transferable. When you're talking about transferable, we mean change of hands. We mean change of hands. That this wealth you are seeing in this world does not usually remain in the hands of one person. Yes. Otherwise, if it was to be like that, most of us would not be having land. Would not be having land as an asset. But why do we come? How do we come to get the land? Once you have the money, once you have the money resource, you get people who are selling. Someone is having 50 acres and is selling 10 acres. You pay for the 10. Therefore, land changes ownership. Changes ownership from one person to another. Personally, I bought at least my 2 acres from a given person. And the person migrated from, I replaced him and paid him money, and then I went away. I mean, he went away. He went somewhere else to also buy land. You get that? So in the process, we realize that land changes hands, changes ownership. It is not a guarantee. You have seen this, and some of you have experienced this, that when you buy a car, even if it is brand new, but really, have most of you bought brand new cars? Surely. No. Many of you have bought second hand. I usually wonder when we are mentioning that word, second hand, yet at times it is third hand or fourth hand, but I don't know why we usually call it second hand. Already used. By how many people? We don't know. But you find yourself getting the card and paying for the vehicle, which has already been used by many other people. Even when you buy a brand new car, Mercedes-Benz, even if you buy a tractor, brand new from the factory, it is very rare not to exchange that vehicle or tractor to another person. Very rare. At times people fail to maintain such assets. Mechanical conditions fail them. At times because they are very expensive to maintain, and they end up selling them to others and say, with me, since I am failing, let it not collapse in my hands. Let me therefore buy and take. So it has transferred ownership and maybe the change of hands from one person to another. All right. People have reached the level of even selling houses. Where one is sleeping, you sell your own house to another person, and you also go to another place to start either to build another one or to also buy another one. That is the change of hands or the transferability of these assets. Yes. Yeah, that is it. So, as we proceed, our last characteristic is that this wealth are limited. Are limited in supply. Are limited in supply. Why do we say that they are limited? Or why is the being limited in supply becoming a future? It is becoming a future because all these assets, as we have mentioned them all along, they are scarce, and therefore they are economical wealth. Economical wealth, they are scarce in nature. And once they are scarce in nature, it implies that they have to be exchanged for something we call money. When you don't have that exchange value in the form of money to pay for what is scarce, then you will not acquire it. You will not acquire it, or you may hardly acquire it. Why? Because it is expensive. It is expensive because it is scarce. It cannot easily be identified. It cannot easily be found and accessed and acquired and owned anyhow. Yes. Apart from some other instances which are very rare, and these days it is becoming very rare, where your fathers, our parents, our grandpapas are giving us. We are inheriting, in other words. We are inheriting some of this wealth. These days, it is not, even when the father is feeling like he's becoming weak, he's becoming health-wise very bad love, sells off the land and puts the money where? Hey, choose the meat, the muscle. It's well. After all, I'm likely to die very soon. Sells the vehicle instead of you inheriting it. So they say, let me die when I have when I have enjoyed my wealth. Those are the people of today. So that's why I'm saying that even that mode of wealth ownership is rare. Is rare. All right. So as we are proceeding slowly, please from here, I would like you again to allow me proceed with another concept. Proceed with another concept as we are looking at the economic concepts that are used in economics, as we are soon completing them. Yes. So I thank you, the class, or my audience, who have actually given in to be with us, to be with me in this class here. And let me hope that by the end of the day, by the end of the session, we shall have acquired a lot of productive issues for the rest of the future, for the rest of our future. So, the other concept that we are going to have, or that we are having, I think it is concept number 4, is called goods. It's called goods. And when we talk about goods, we mean or we refer goods to be items, that are tangible, are you saying it well? That are tangible in nature, and have and possess utility. Remember, when we are talking about utility, we mean that and possess ability to satisfy human what? Human desires. We are together. So that, or those are the goods as our another concept. Therefore, when we are looking at goods, goods are of many classifications, are of many types, and of many categories. I'm using those different words but to mean the same. There are many types of goods, there are many categories of goods. We can classify goods in different ways. These ways are basically 5 in nature. Basically 5 in nature. Let me start from here. The first kind of goods which we can see, we said they are tangible, which we can see, touch, and feel that you have touched a given item or a given good, are categorized in terms of commercial. We call it economic goods. We call it economic goods. And we define economic goods as goods which are scarce in nature, and therefore goods which are scarce in nature and have capacity to satisfy one whose desires. One whose desires. But in this definition, what we have to note is that we are saying goods which are scarce in nature. And I have told you that for any commodity or for any good or service which is scarce in nature, for one to acquire it or for one to access it, that means it is expensive. It is expensive for one to access such a kind of a commodity. And since it is scarce and expensive, therefore you have to touch where? Where do you have to touch? In your pocket. To pull out. What is always in the pocket? What? Yeah? Hey, money. You pull out money to pay for the scarce resource, for the scarce good, for the scarce commodity, or for the scarce service. Yes. So, when you don't touch into your pocket to pull out that huge money that is there, then you will not enjoy an economic good. Because even the one who has looked for it, he who has bothered to take time, engage into its production, has not wasted time. Has not wasted what? Time. His time and raw materials have to be paid for in terms of a price. In terms of a price. So that one makes it to be called economic goods. But these economic goods, therefore, also have got some kind of, characteristics. Economic goods have got some kind of characteristics alongside them. For example, we have already mentioned one there. By the way, two of them. For instance, these characteristics, one of which we are saying they are scarce. They are scarce in nature. Meaning that they cannot easily always be realized, be obtained. Then too, maybe here we can add one word that they are relatively. Okay? Have you seen it? Let us add the word relatively scarce in nature. What does relatively mean? It means that it is not completely scarce, but it is somehow scarce and which can be obtained. Then the other have got money value. Money value, meaning that you have to monetize this commodity here. You have to value this good, economic good, in terms of money. In terms of money. That is, if you are to access it, and if even the seller is to sell it, will have to monetize it, value it in terms of money, and then sells it at a given price. So the other is also that they have opportunity cost. They have opportunity cost. They have opportunity cost. Meaning that these economic goods, for one to consume them or for one to demand for them, you have to first arrange yourselves. Do you remember the scale of preference? The scale of preference? You have to arrange your goods in accordance to priority. And the arrangement of goods in terms of priority or in line with their priority is what, remember, we called the scale of preference. And out of, say, a commodity A, B, C, D, D, E, F, you have to arrange these commodities according to their need. According to their need. Starting with the most pressing one, the most in need. And the less in need is the one which will be down. Such that even if you don't consume, you don't buy that one, you will not be so much burdened in life. So when you buy A, B, C, D, and your money resource gets done, gets finished, that means you will have had opportunity cost of E and F. The buying of A, B, C, D would be the opportunity cost of E and F. Of E and F. Yes. So with this, that's why we are saying that since they have money value, since they are scarce, relatively scarce in nature, and have money value, therefore you can always be able to buy 1, 2, 3, leaving out the other, thus leading us to opportunity cost. Okay? Yes, don't think that even you who is there, when you have 1 million, that you will be able to buy everything you need in this world. You cannot. You cannot. Because immediately you just there start buying some items, is when you will feel that you have very many, and even the 1 million will end when you have not completed them. That means you must have made a scale of preference. A scale of preference. Then lastly, among the characteristics of economic goods is that these economic goods have utility. Have utility. Remember utility, we defined it as what? We defined utility as the ability to satisfy human desires. So when we say that have utility for you and whichever commodity you go to purchase in the market, you go when you have calculated that I'm going to buy commodity A, C, and Z because these commodities have a given ability to satisfy you, have a given ability to satisfy you, and the less the commodities which have less utility, less satisfying ability, are the ones that you tend to neglect. In most cases, when I'm with you, students, in class here I tell you that when it comes to break time or lunch time, and you find at the canteen, school canteen, where they are selling bananas, pancakes, each pancake 100 shillings. You are having biscuits of 500, having like 10 pieces inside. You have cassava, each one 50 shillings, each piece. I hear the canteen attendant always complaining. The so-called mandazi, the so-called biscuits, those ones are not always bought. And they complain why they buy them. Stock them into the canteen. Why? Because you always look at what has the most satisfying ability. You, the students, you usually go for cassava. After all, one, it is cheap, a very good piece. A very good piece. By the way, a very good piece, like this one here, the whole of this one here, just 50 shillings. And you calculate, you have your 1,000. Those are how many pieces? 20 of them. By the time you finish 20 of them, where will your stomach be? Eh? You can imagine this one is just 300. 300. So when you buy for 1,000, that means you will consume other than buying only 2 packets, biscuits, which melt just from within the mouth, you imagine. So we are looking at utility, which is the satisfying ability of a given commodity. And therefore, these economic goods, like the buildings I told you, like the land, like the cars, like bicycles, like clothes, like the shoes, each one you are putting on. I know, each one of you, And on barefoot? No, no one is on barefoot. So you are putting on shoes. Those shoes, you didn't just laugh in the market and they gave you. You did. Because even if you could laugh, you bring all the teeth out, they could not give you those shoes. But you had to touch into the pocket, thus having a money value, and therefore having an ability to satisfy what you want, your desire. All right? Thank you. I know we are moving on together. So, having noted that as one of types of goods, which is economic goods, therefore let us proceed and look at the second category of goods. The second category of goods. Among these goods, we have also, let us call it part B, or number 2, which we call intermediate goods. Yes. What could these ones be? What could this type of good be? When we are talking about intermediate goods, we mean goods which are used, which are demanded to be used in the production of other goods. Which are goods, these are goods which are used in the production of other goods. In other words, they are semi-processed goods. Are semi what? Semi-processed goods which are used in the production of other goods. Yes, most of you here, you are pancake makers. Are you? Hey, but you have seen people making pancakes. I know you are students. Since you are students, but at least some of our parents are good at making chapatis, are good at making pancakes, good at making cakes, good at making making what? Yeah? Mention them. Of course, there are many. But what are always the raw materials in the process of making some of those items that we have mentioned? Yes. For example, when someone is dealing in the making of chapatis, what are the raw materials? In chapati making, we have wheat. Yeah? We have wheat. We have salt. Yeah? We have cooking oil. You get? So in other words, to be brief, the cooking oil the wheat flour, and the salt, and by the way, the baking powder, which make it to, some of them, they mix it, and it's a small chapati like this, but it swells, it appears big, okay? So, in other words, you buy the baking powder, you buy the cooking oil, you buy the salt, you buy the wheat flour, purposely to make a chapati. Without the other ones, you can't have a chapati. You get yellow bananas. You get yellow bananas. Do you know yellow bananas? I know, people just from here, you must be knowing, but there are some people from far away. You people, do you know? In some of your areas, you don't grow these items. Hey, let me make you feel like testing. I know some of you are going to feel like testing. Yes. So here we have a yellow banana. Here we have a yellow banana. This yellow banana is used in making pancakes. This is one item or raw material in making pancakes. Alongside it, you mix it with what? You mix it with the cooking oil. Whereas some people, because of the scarcity of these bananas, they just get maize flour, and all maybe the cassava flour. And then they use also the baking powder within it to make it swell and appear as if it is big, even when it is small. You see how these producers tend to cheat us? So from there, you realize that they get the cooking oil and they make the pancakes. And you are there enjoying, yet you have not been knowing how they get the pancakes. Yes. So, those raw materials are the ones which are used for the production of another commodity. Most of you, I'm very sure, even during lunchtime, after lunchtime, you must have enjoyed sweets. Sweets, especially ladies' teeth, jaws, don't rest. At any time, they are like chewing something. They are like squeezing something in the... Am I deceiving? The girls who are here, am I deceiving? No. Me, the Son of Man, does not deceive. I tell the truth. You ladies here, the girls here, you enjoy that. What do we use in making sweets? Some of you don't know. You just feel the sweet feeling very nice. But you don't know that the sugar that is made out of sugar cane is used in the process of making a sweet. I did not leave this sweet in the shop. Here we have this sweet. This sweet, do you know how much it is? Ladies can't fail to know. Ladies cannot fail to know. But with the boys, I know boys don't mind. They can take even a whole month without tasting any. I know men, we are full of problems. You see? This sweet here, as yellow as you are seeing it, it is indeed sweet when you taste it. But one of its raw material is what? Sugar. Sugar in this sweet here. So they get the sugar and utilize it in the processing in the making of this sweet. So sugar becomes an intermediate good. An intermediate good. The wheat flour in the making chapatis is an intermediate goods. Cooking oil is an intermediate good in making other products. So even many others that you think about, making cake, when they're making cakes, I see very many of you, when it comes to weddings, parties, introductions, You almost fight to enjoy the cake. Apart from me, you enjoy the cakes like nothing. What are the raw materials? You will find that sugar is part and parcel of the raw materials. Therefore, sugar becomes an intermediate good in making the final product, which is a cake. Okay? So, even many other examples that you can mention about, right? Okay. So, another type of good that we can note here, another type of good that you can note here is consumer goods. Consumer what? Goods. When we are talking about consumer goods, just as by virtue of calling it consumer, I think you get the definition, obviously. I think you get the definition. So, these are goods which are ready for direct consumption. Which are ready for direct consumption. Yes. For example, we have food. In whichever category that food is, so long as it is prepared. Personally, I told you I had to buy this cassava here. This is fried what? Fried cassava. You can all see. It is fried what? Cassava. This cassava here it does no longer have any other process that it needs apart from chewing it. Apart from chewing it, that is the only solution for it now. I know, you must be admiring it. But hold on and we finish the class. I will give it to you, okay? And if it was possible, I would start on it because it is a consumer good, ready for direct consumption. Ready for direct consumption. So this one is a finished good, ready for consumption. That's been called a consumer good. Besides that, we also have what we call a yellow banana. This yellow banana, however much it also falls under intermediate good because it can still be used for the production of another commodity, but it can also be a consumer good because it is ready. It is ready. I can start on it immediately. I can start on it. You can start on it immediately. You start on it. Direct. So it is ready for final consumption. Note me very well. Quote me very well. It can both be a consumer good because it is ready for direct consumption. But however, I can also say that no, let me not directly consume it like in this form, in this fresh form. Let me now squeeze it and mix it with maize all cassava flour and then put it into the flampen. The flampen filled with cooking oil. Then I will get pancake out of it. Yeah? Then for that, in that scenario, it will have acted as intermediate good. An intermediate good. Yes, I think the point is noted. So we have to know all these modes of production such that we must not die of poverty. And like some people who are out there and they cannot even make a simple pancake for selling. Yes? Yes. I think from here but please don't take a lot of bananas because it may, the stomach may, you understand that. Okay. Now, another good, which is a consumer good that I carried for you, is this. What is this? Who knows it? Amongst you, who knows this one? This is an eggplant. I know some of you fear them because they tend to sour a bit. And because they tend to sour a bit, you tend to forget that it is medical for our health. It is very nice for our health. And therefore, due to that, as per its status, it is ready just to be put into hot water or prepare it in form of food. It does not need any other growth apart from mixing it with the sauce or frying it. You enjoy it. So it also acts as a final product. So, given that this time I brought these items for you to actually, not only to learn, but you're going to admire to choose them. There's another one here, which is also a consumer good. What is this? It was planted as a plant, it grew, and the final fruit is here. The final product is here. This one is a green paper. A green paper. This green paper is a fresh one. With us here in Uganda, we are always able to produce this fresh, direct from the source, direct from the garden. Just 1 day old from the garden. So all the nutrients are still within it, right? So this one, the only step is chop it. You can mix it also with with an eggplant, and then when you finish preparing it to the for consumption, then they can match and you enjoy the process, and the stomach will feel very happy and appreciate you for having gone to the market, right? Okay, those are consumer goods. Among the food, I have shown you a number of them. It can be posho, it can be beans, it can be millet, it can be rice, it can be potatoes, macarons, whichever. Think about it. But we also have, besides the food, we also have some other consumer goods which are always ready for consumption. For this matter, we have clothes. Clothes. Among the clothes, for instance, we have, among the clothes, we have like this one. This one is a t-shirt. This one is a t-shirt. You get? There is no any other process that it needs to go through apart from putting it on. Apart from putting it on. This is its final consumption. This is its final what? Consumption. It will be done. It doesn't need to go into any other further production, any other process. No. When I do this, I will have finished. And therefore it becomes a consumer good because it is ready for direct consumption. Yes, I know you must have also admired it, but I'm not giving it to you. This one is mine. This one is mine. Hey, yes, you get? So, those are clothes. We also have different like flasks. We have flasks. Flasks. Do you know flask? We have bottles. We have bottles. Bottles we have like this one. I know you students, you like enjoying water at school. Not only water, but even some drinks, so long as it is not alcohol. Hey, you like carrying your porridge from these containers. From these containers, all the time you are taking. You like passion juice all the time, at break time, at lunch time, you get. So this one does not have any other form of production that it is required to go through, apart from direct consumption, the final use of this commodity here. Okay? So this is a water bottle or a liquid bottle. You get? Yeah. We have, you know this? This is a toilet paper. There is no any other process apart from using it. For it to do its role is the final utilization of this kind of product. With this kind of product. So I have had many of them, and therefore let us proceed with another kind or type of gold. Yes, you can be reflecting even home. In your homes there, you have a lot of such a kind of products. So as we are here learning, your eyes, your ears, your antennas. I'm not meaning that you have antennas like insects, but I mean that your mind must be now reflecting home the kind of consumer goods that you have, the kind of intermediate goods that you have, the kind of economic goods that you have in your families, and even you yourself that you possess. Yes. Now, besides consumer goods, we also have what we call A, B, C, D, what we call capital goods, When we talk about capital goods, these are goods which are used in the production of other commodities. You are going to quote me very keenly here, because you must create a difference between capital goods and intermediate goods. Because when we're trying to talk about them, trying to define them, you may feel like, but as if they are the same. They are not the same, though they are all used in the production of other commodities. What's the difference there? The difference is that these ones are goods used in the production of other goods, okay? And even these ones were goods used in the production of other goods. But where is the difference? The difference is that these ones are semi-processed. They are semi-processed. And these ones are final products, but still used in the production of other commodities, but also used in the production of other items. Therefore, for this matter here, we have some features of capital goods which can create that difference. For example, among these characteristics, we have that these capital goods are always heavy in nature. Is cooking oil heavy in nature? No. Is wheat heavy in nature? No. Is maize flour heavy in nature? No. Is cassava flour heavy in nature? It is not. Okay? But what is heavy in nature? We have an example of tractors. We have bulldozers. We have graders. You know those kind of movable trucks, vehicles. We have buildings. You get. So you will find that the futures under capital are not the same futures under intermediate goods. Yes. So these tractors, bulldozers, graders, buildings are always put in place, are always produced not for their own direct consumption, but for the production of what the owner wants to produce. Are you getting what I mean? When you are demanding for a tractor, you go to Kampala to buy a tractor from Japan, which has been imported from Japan. When you are demanding for that tractor, you don't demand for its own direct consumption, but rather you demand for it to be used in the production of the final products that you want. that you want, and that is, for example, production in agriculture, you will have to look for the tractor not for its own sake, but for the sake of being used in the production of other ventures. Like for this building here, we are in here. This building was not built for its own use, direct use, just to enjoy the bricks, the glasses, to enjoy the wall and the others. No, not just that, but it was put in place to be used for many other ventures. For instance, we can use it for seminars because it has got a big hall. You see where you are sitting? You see? It is a big hall for seminars, for workshops, for parties. You understand? It can be used for weddings as well as accommodation. People can start sleeping within here. It can be used as a hotel. A hotel. People coming from Sudan, people coming from Tanzania and holding meet up. You get? Hey. They eat from some corners, they enjoy from some corners, they come and sleep here. You get? So, the building was not for its own direct consumption, but for the production of some other services. Some other services. Right? We are busy moving on with the types of goods. We are moving on with types of goods. And in this line, therefore, let us also look at durable goods, durable goods. Now, as wherever you are here, wherever you are, there or somewhere, please, I think you must have started reflecting home. What do you think you have in your homes as a durable good? Or even here at school as a durable good? What could that good be? Have you identified some examples from which we can be able to get the definition? Yes. Huh? Have we done so? Can we proceed? Or I leave it for you? Let us march together, okay? Let us march together. Durable goods. From just the environment we are in here, you identify that the building itself, it is not something, it is not an item that is going to collapse in the evening. Because it took years being built, it cannot collapse in one night and cannot collapse tomorrow, but rather it was built for years and years to come. Meaning that it has to take long while existing. Meanwhile, we have other items from within this building. We have tables. We have tables. You get? We have tables. We have the table there. So we have the table here. These tables are not going to get rotten in 1 week. because they might have even taken years so far. In my class there, you can see those lockers, those desks that you are sitting on. I last saw them 2012. Now how many years? 10 years. But they have no damage. They are existing. They have taken long, 10 years. Some of you were still in P2. We are still in P3, P4, around there, when they are already in place. Here, as an example of durable goods, you can see, you can see such a table, such a chair. This one is a metallic. It is a metallic. The whole of it is a metallic. So tell me, how long will this one last in life? It has already taken, and it will continue taking a lot of time. A long time to come when it is still here. When it is still there. So, have we got the definition? When we are talking about durable goods, therefore, we mean those goods which can take long before getting deteriorated, before getting spoiled. Yes. Which can exist for a longer period of time. Not taking long when they are kept. By the way, even when they are kept, even if they are used, but they are taking a long time, those are durable goods, as I have shown you. This glass of water here, you are seeing here, it can hardly get damaged, even if I throw it down. Should I? Even if I throw it down, it may not break. But bring a flask. A flask, just from here to here, just from down here to here, I bang it once by pow on the ground, you will see it breaking. Why? It is not a durable good. So therefore, that one links us to another kind of good, and which is our last good, called perishable goods. Perishable goods. This one will not take much time for us, because I will just hint to you that it is the opposite of durable goods. And therefore, having told you that it is the opposite of a durable good, what is a perishable good? What is a perishable good? A perishable good is a good that can deteriorate, which can deteriorate easily. When we mean deteriorate, when we talk about deteriorating, we mean which can get spoiled get spoiled easily. Yes. Now, when we are looking at these goods, goods which can easily trade easily, like what examples of these goods can we have? One, yes, I know you want to talk about a mango. A mango, you talk about avocado, you can talk about tomatoes, you can talk about food, you can talk about milk. This milk here, we can specify because they are powdered milk, and we have also liquid what? Liquid milk. But even if it is powdered milk, how many years can it take? Last time I remember being in Lake 7 supermarket in Hoima town, in Hoima city, and I was buying Lato. Do you know Lato milk? Yes, Lato powdered milk. But when I looked at the range of time, it was 2 years. 2 years from the time of packing it. Yes. They can relatively take long, I mean the powdered what? Milk. But it cannot take too long. Okay? Like the durable goods which can have already taken 10 years, I told you. 20, 100 years to come. So, oranges. You have eggplants, as I showed to you. You have green peppers. Yes. Very many of them. Very many of them. All of these are perishables. Do you know this? Do you know this one? This one is a tomato. This is a tomato. I told you in Uganda we have chances of having fresh, direct from the gardens, and we can consume them straight away. But in some countries, they have to preserve them for some time in fridges because they have challenges with the production. And they import some of these items from some countries. But still, they cannot take too long. You can see this one. It is already like getting spoiled. You see the texture? You see the texture? That texture, the line lines. It is becoming spoiled. It is becoming spoiled. So with this tomato, when not preserved, by the end of a week, this one will no longer be like this. It will have rotten up. It will have rotten. I showed it to you. The banana, the yellow banana. You see it. These black spots. It is a sign of getting spoiled. Those black ones are signs of getting what? Spoiled. You see? So this one, if you give it 3 days to come, you can no longer consume it. You see? You can no longer consume it. Which is an indicator of being perishable, of taking a short period of time when it is not yet consumed. I remember showing you the eggplant. You can see an eggplant which was got from the garden when it is still green, but it is yellowing. It has started yellowing in a very few days. And you can see the spot, the dark black spot, which is showing, or which is an indicator of rotting, which is a good indicator of rotting, that black spot there. So this one can also not take days, like 3 or 4. It will have all yellowed and rotten, thus being a commodity which takes a short period of time when not yet consumed. I moved with a little kind of food, this cassava here. It was prepared today, but for your information, if it takes 3 days, you will start feeling gum on it as a sign of fermenting. As a sign of fermenting. And you will start looking at it with some black kind of surface coming around it, which is an indicator that food can, in whichever category, cannot easily take long apart from the preserved food, like the packed meat, packed fish, though they also have a given specified time period in which they have to be okay, beyond which they are all regarded as spoiled food or spoiled fish or meat. Are we together? Yes. So as I have told you, as we're looking at our perishable goods, maybe for instance when you happen to have your plate of rice with the meat, and you get your plate of posho with beans, put them somewhere. When they are ready to consume, put them in the cupboard. Look at the cupboard. Miss 1 day, miss 2 days, by the 3rd day, even by the way, 1 day, the 2nd day, by the time you come to test it, you will find when they are really tasting badly, you will see when that food is having some kind of gum. And when it takes and when it takes 2 to 3 days, you will find some insects, some maggots trying to develop within the food. Have you ever seen it? You must have seen it. And you must have experienced it, you yourself, if you have not. We are not preaching the gospel of conviction. Go and try it. Go and you simply serve a plate of whichever type of food. You forego it. Put it somewhere, and at the end of the day, 2 days, you go and check it. It's when you will from here say that, oh, wow, this thing is very right. Yes. So what we are doing here is very practical in nature. It is not just theory, it is not just words, but it is very practical. Yes. Now maybe you'll forgive me somewhere that I forgot on consumer goods to show you one of the item that was among the consumer goods, and that was the medicine. That medicine having been produced. Let me grab this. I'm talking about consumer goods. Let me take you back slightly or briefly. Consumer goods, as we mentioned, about food, clothes, even chairs, tables, are all finished goods ready for consumption. And therefore, we also have medicine. I have not felt like leaving it out because we usually, me, you, and your friends usually enjoy these medicines in different capacities. And therefore, in whichever capacity, in whichever type of medicine you consume, that medicine is always ready for final consumption. For final consumption. It is hard always to find a medicine that now you first wait, let us first take it to the factory, and maybe let us first process it here, and then you will take it. No. For example, you have this, when you're suffering from flu, what do you take? Here, you can see, you have Flu-Cap. Flu-Cap. Flu-Cap is a medicine which doesn't need to go any other kind of production process or production stage, but rather to be swallowed. When you are suffering from flu, you get healed quickly. You have Flu-Fed. When you have running nose, leave alone the one caused by COVID-19, because that one is a bit strange and strong, and which needs special attention, right? But this local common flu, usual flu, Flu-Cap, Flu-Fed can help you. I'm not a physician, but we are always given this kind of medicine for direct consumption. When you're feeling like some kind of pain, I'm feeling some kind of pain, I don't know. Then you will always take a Panadol, which they call medically paracetamol. Paracetamol, Painex, we get some kind of such painkillers in general. So they don't instruct us that before you take these painkillers, please, you first go and drop them in water, and then they dissolve, then they will ferment, and maybe do. No. You just open the Flu-Cap, the Panadol, the Painex, the headaches, kind of, you swallow. After a night, you wake up when you are strong. You wake up when you are strong. Why? Because you took a painkiller, which is a consumer good. All right? So when you are having fever, you are feeling like the stomach is complaining, they give you medicine. Straight away, you take and be okay. So medicine is one of the very good consumer good. I could not leave it out without talking about it, because you usually enjoy it, and you could at times, some of you remain as yourselves. But now where does medicine fall? It falls under consumer goods. All right. Now, having looked at these categories or these types of goods, maybe let us look at two more. Let us look at two more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let us look at two more. The blackboard has become, the whiteboard has become small. But we shall mention towards F, G. We shall mention about inferior goods. And when we are mentioning about inferior, we are looking at goods. And these are type of goods whose demand reduces whenever the consumer's income increases. Whenever your income increases, you, but also me, hello, hey, I would also feel like enjoying a more better quality product. But when you are still a bit poor, income is very low. When the income is very low, it means your affordability, the purchasing power, the real income is also what? Is also low. And when it is low, we usually tend to consume commodities within which we can fit. Because we cannot go for very expensive items, very expensive commodities, when our pockets are very annoyed. Yes. That's why when you find low income earners, in the morning, someone ate cassava. At lunch, someone is eating cassava the same. In the supper, someone is taking portion. Only carbohydrates. The following morning, sweet potatoes. Lunch, portion. Supper, cassava. But cassava with what? At times, cassava with only drinking water. Portion with unfried beans. Then the potatoes, you take them with dodo. You are done throughout the week. And you tend to start, and you tend to continue admiring. At least so and so, with them I saw them at the butcher when they are cutting kilograms. Kilograms of what? Kilograms of beef. You can't imagine. They took 4 kilograms. Yet they are only 10 people. They are only 8 people. You mean the whole kilogram 2 people? Those people can consume. They are consuming because the pocket is happy. The pocket is happy indeed. By happiness, I mean the pocket is enabling them to buy such a product. Clear? So, you also start lamenting that when I also one time earn money, more money, when my salary happens to be increasing, I will never eat this portion. I will never, I tell you. Did they bewitch me to only consume beans, portion, cassava all the time? When will I ever grow fat? No. Then when the employer makes a mistake, is it a mistake really? When the employer makes a mistake of increasing your salary or your wages by a given amount, that will be the time when you will shift from consuming cassava, consuming posho, consuming potatoes, plus beans, moreover unfried. Unfried what? Beans. This one here plus dodo. Dodo also unfried. Why? Because you are not able even to buy the cooking oil. You take cassava plus just dry water, drinking water, and you call that one supper. You call it lunch. It is gone. So, as I have said, when you are fond of consuming these ones, and your employer, your boss, just makes a slight mistake of increasing your wage or salary, we see you shifting from potatoes and unfried beans to chicken. Chicken and what? Chicken, if you are a lady, I know ladies like, let us see. Chicken plus chips. Hey. You can run out from cassava to rice. Rice and what? Not beans, but meat. You run from posho and water. You move to matoke. Matoke, I mean bananas. So, you shift, this shifting here is because of the increase in your income. That shows that these initial commodities that you were consuming, the potato, cassava, and posho, are inferior goods. Are inferior goods whose demand goes on reducing whenever the consumer's income does what? Increases. Increases. Yes. So in reality, whenever one's income increases, you feel like being better, consuming better quality commodities. Better quality what? Commodities. Then, assuming that we have noted that, let me hope you have noted what inferior goods are. Whenever your income increases and you shift from consuming the low quality products to a much more higher quality product, you just know you are practicing economics where you are buying more superior commodities than the inferior commodities which you are leaving behind. Okay? Then thereafter, as we are completing the goods, let us look at the Jiffany goods. Let us look at the Jiffany goods. Number H, we call them Jiffany goods. As we are looking at Jiffany goods, what could they be? What do you think they are? What do you think they are? Of course, since we started, you must have a thought around. Anyone to tell us? Okay, I know you are preparing to tell us in 5 minutes time, but let us be going on. Now, Jiffany goods, here we define them as goods. We define them as goods which take which take a large portion, not here what we are going to add here. Very crucial. We are saying they are goods which take a large portion of a low-income earner's income. I'm repeating. Which take a large portion of a low maybe to make it very clear for you, let me say it as which take a large portion of income of a low income earner, of a low income earner, purposely to show what? To show off. To show off. Yes. Here we look at the poor people. You will have to agree with me. You will have to agree with me that it is the low income earners, it is the poor person or the poor people who usually tend to buy very expensive products on the market. Someone who goes to buy clothes, he has taken the whole year, 5 months, 4 months, suffering, working up and down, but mainly to buy a very expensive product, a very expensive cloth. Not because he is rich, but because he wants to raise his status to be seen as a rich person, yet is very poor. So he or she exhausts all the little he or she has to buy that product, and that is when that person will move. That is when he has put on that kind of, if it is a suit, even the hands will grow the wings. That is when you say, yes, he has really bought it. But for the rich people, don't mind. They don't mind whether he has put on expensive or not, works normally. But he who is poor, puts on the very expensive shoes once in a while, once in a year or 2 years, or even 3. Because most of the times you will find them putting on slippers in the village, slippers. But puts on such a kind of items, products during parties, during Christmas, during Easter days, those big days, purposely to show that he has money, yet he has no money. That is why we are saying that it takes a large portion of income of a low income earner, purposely to show off that he is rich, yet he is not. That is why, by the way, today you find the low and somehow medium class carrying very heavy, expensive gadgets like phones. But you find a rich man, tycoon, when he's having a small button kind of a phone. Why? He's not after showing off the wealth he has. He comes out of a car, a very expensive car, which is fit for him depending on the wealth he has, on the wealth he has. But he's putting on his open shoes, which are not expensive, not even tucking in, but moving around normally, joking with with colleagues around. But the poor one, when he buys a very expensive product, that is when he will have also suffered to look for 50,000 shillings to buy a whole crate of Eagle beer during Christmas. And usually locally they say he has stepped on a crate to show that he has money. But the following morning, his child is chased of school fees. You can imagine what kind of sense such a consumer has. Okay? Therefore, having looked at that, please allow me to look at public goods, and we say that these public goods are goods. Public goods are goods which are collectively utilized by everyone in the community. It is just like public wants. The other ones are desires of an individual, but these ones are items and all services. You look at, for example, we talked about roads. These ones are used by everyone, whether you are lame, whether you are short, whether you are fat, whether you are tall, regardless of who, but you use the road. Whether you contributed towards it or not, you are entitled to use the road. Then 3, we have health centers or hospitals. We have water sources. We have ports, like the Entebbe airport. When you go to step there, they will not chase you from there, so long as you have what is talking about you for security purposes. Schools, all those ones are for all of us and are enjoyed by all of us. No school you can go to that you are taking your child and they chase you. Go out of this compound. I can see your legs are not supposed to step on this compound. Look at the leg. Look at the hands. You have not even shaved the hair. Go away. No. You will be welcomed and you will be attended to. Because you cannot go to the hospital and they say, hey, the tall ones, now like me, the tall ones, you are not entering today. You are not entering today. We are working on the short ones only. Can you imagine? We have short people here. Hey, you will be looked at, catered for. Yeah? That will not work. That one cannot work with public goods. So they are collectively enjoyed. But we have some characteristics. We have some characteristics of these public what? Public goods. Out of which one? We say that they are non-excludability. Non-excludability. That everyone is entitled to enjoy this public good here. As I told you initially that you cannot go to a stone well or borehole when you are from Kotido, you are from Soroti, you have come here to Hoima, and you are asked not to fetch water from there. That one cannot happen. Cannot happen because a borehole which is publicly owned is for everyone. So the other one is non-divisible. Non-divisibility. We are looking at the futures of public goods. You cannot divide a water source into two that only people from the other village, you take that portion of water. People from the north of a given village take the other portion of water. Now people from the southern part take you cannot divide it. It is enjoyed wholesomely. You cannot say that, for example, a road, you only share this part here. Man, I will drive, I will ride, even if I mean to leave Hoima here, up to Karamoja, without anybody touching me, I am entitled. 2, you cannot divide the road among the users. You cannot divide a school, a public school, that now, with you are not entitled to use here. We are dividing it into 2. You, the poor ones, go there, the rich ones go there. If you so happen to do it, you are against the future of excludability, of divisibility. Then lastly, there is no rivalry. We said there is no rivalry. Rivalry. When we say there is no rivalry, we mean there is no competition. There is no competition. When you go to church, I don't think I have ever seen, have you ever seen any? One praying so hard and be praised and be given gifts that because you have prayed so much, you have made a lot of noise during the prayer. That with me, I'm so sick, please, and therefore give me a lot of medicine. That because I am very rich, give me 3 beds in the hospital. I will be shifting from one bed to another, others should not. No. You are not competing for the beds. Even if it is along the road, you are walking, whether you are riding a bicycle, a motorcycle, or you are driving, whichever kind of car, there is no need for you to compete for the road. Now, how would you compete for it? You drive at your own speed. Everyone has an intention. You drive recklessly, very speedy, you die. So when you die, that's because maybe you were rushing. I don't think you were rushing to outcompete another one, but you were rushing for your own program. For your own program. And even me who is walking, I decided to walk because I have my own program. Maybe you have no money to hire a car. So we must not and we cannot compete for the road, for the usage of the road. I think it is clear. Now, given that one is clear, let us finally look at services. Look at services. Services are what we call the intangible. Services are what we call intangible things that are meant to satisfy one's desires. We are completing the economic concepts used in economics. We are looking at services, and this is concept number 5. And we are saying that services are intangible things that can satisfy human immaterial we mean non-material desires. Non-material desires. And therefore, they are also classified into two. These services are also classified into two. One of which is called direct services. Direct what? Direct services. And when you're talking about direct services, these are personal or refer to personal services, which in most cases require the client to deal directly, with the one giving the service. We are saying these are services are personal services which require the client to have or be in direct contact with the one giving or providing the service. Giving the service. Yes. So these are interpersonal by, how can I call it? Interpersonal between two parties. All the parties should be close to one another if one is to attain a given service. So in most cases, we have services, e.g. we have services of doctors, and you people, it is very hard for you to say, I am in Uganda, please, I want you, the doctor who is in Belgium, you are in Portugal, or even maybe you are in Kenya, please work upon me. I am so bad, love. I am about to die. Work upon me. Now, tell me, how will the doctor in Poland, how will the doctor in Belgium, the doctor in Kenya really help you? Because in most cases, these doctors, the health conditions that you are in need some kind of diagnosis, where they have to diagnose you, and therefore at the end of the day, You are worked upon by the doctor, by examining you, having examined you. Therefore, the doctor and the client has to be in direct contact with you. So, the services of doctors and the clients, you cannot dodge, you cannot have a longer distance between them, unless one is just deceiving you around. One will just guess. Because, for instance, if I have got an accident, I have been knocked by a motorcycle, and the chest is paining me. Really, I'm feeling one of the bones is paining me deeply, and I need an X-ray. I need an X-ray. How will the doctor who is in Kenya exert the X-ray onto me and get out the picture and identify that it is this bone which has got a problem here? It has got, you see? Can he do it? He cannot. And therefore, it really requires you, me, the client, to have my doctor close to one another. Yes. The second one, we are saying in most cases, the teacher's services, the service of a teacher must be close to the client, the learners, be it primary, pre-primary, or post-primary, or post-secondary, in most cases. Because at times, when the teacher is doing his wonderful work, you may, in one way or the other, want to joke around with him or her. And maybe from the kind of joking, you can be able to understand what actually that teacher is meaning. You may require to ask directly at a given point during the teaching learning process. Okay? That is where you actually need to have the teacher direct with the learner. Direct with the learner. Given that other factors are constant. Okay? Given other factors are constant. Yes. So on the other hand, we also have services of what? Services of lawyers, services of magistrates, all these services need direct contact with the clients. That is why in most cases you tend to see the lawyers in courts with the victims of the case in the courts of law, such that the magistrate can directly question the person concerned over a given issue. And in that scenario, therefore, through observation, as you are busy trying to explain about yourself, trying to explain about the matter, the judge, the magistrate, the lawyers are busy studying your way of communication and the kind of words, the kind of convictions that you are trying to put across. Yes, and it is out of that with them, because of their level of understanding, they try to determine that this person actually is telling the truth, or this person is actually telling lies, by just the way I am observing him communicating. So it becomes hard for the judges, for the lawyers, for whoever to be in court. I mean to decide on a given case when you are referred different. For example, the Hoima Court, Magistrate Court, deciding on the case, whereby the owner of the case and the victims are all in different areas. One is in Mbale, which is one of the districts in the east, one of the districts of Uganda in the east, whereas another one is in Kasese, southwest of Uganda. And then the court is where? Is in Hoima, in western here. Then the court cannot actually do anything with that kind of ruling, in that kind of case. All of them have to come together. And then the judge, the magistrates, sit with them, analyze them, examine them, ask question per question, and says who is saying what, how is he bringing it, how, and then they will have to decide that really we have come to prove you were in right, he was in wrong. Then they decide. I hope that we are still moving with me, right? Yes. If you are, please, wonderful. All right. Now, besides direct services, there are those which we also call commercial services. And we are saying that these what we call commercial services, I'm writing services there, and then here we put commercial what? Commercial services. So when we are talking about commercial services, we are looking at services that facilitate economic activities. To smoothly take place. Without hindrances. Yes, without hindrances. When you talk about hindrances, we mean obstacles. Without impediments, okay? Without jeopardies, okay? That is the same meaning, the same word. Hindrance, obstacle, jeopardy, and the rest. And therefore, when you're talking about commercial services, what examples do we have here? Here we have the banking services. These banking services always help to finance different economic activities, always help to safeguard people's customers' money that is deposits into their financial institutions, which all in all are safeguard, is smoothing, is enabling the day-to-day running of different economic activities. So we also have the insurance services. When you're talking about insurance services, these are services which help the insured or certain activities from certain unforeseen circumstances. And when you're talking about some unforeseen circumstances, that is like a fire outbreak over a given economic activity. It may be on vehicles, it may be on buildings, it may be on factories, it may be on some industries of that kind. And then if those industries or economic activities were insured, then in the case of such a kind of a jeopardy, when it has occurred, then it means that the insurance company has to come in and therefore pay or compensate the insured such that can continue with production activities. So therefore, given that, please, with us here we tend to say in our vernacular that even he who works on such a wonderful, loamy, soft soil, time comes and he says, bye-bye, and we meet again. Thank you so much for being with me.